And so I've talked to most of your students here today, and they all seem to believe that you have provided them with opportunity that just wasn't common, like to come to school and get a trade, to develop into a career that that you find the funding for. Talk about that part and why you set it up like that.
Because I'm a product of my community. Every student that you visited with and every student that you talk to is me. So I just had to make a difference. It wasn't about how I was going to do it and when I was going to do it. It was just a matter of doing it. You ever heard somebody say you just don't really have a choice anymore? When you see certain things, it's like you have to do something about it. And that's where I am. I just have to do something about the things that I know needs help. And it seems like nobody else is really prioritizing my community, training. Just everything that I do is personal.
Well, traditionally in a vocational school, it's about financial assistance. And it seemed like you would make more if you took, went out and had the students get student loans. Tell me why you choose. Is that true? And tell me why you choose to do it a different way.
When I first started my business, I just started to help people get jobs. I just wanted to help single moms get off of welfare. That's all I thought about. And I was so successful at it to a point where it was just growing like crazy. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing on a business side how I could make a lot of money doing it. And I had opened my business in 1998, and by 2004, I was making millions off of student loans and Pell Grants. But over the years, I started seeing what it was doing to the community. Even though I was making a lot of money and living a good lifestyle, it was detrimental to my community. The people couldn't pay back the student loans. The people were taking out the loans didn't even realize the effect that it was going to have on them. Like, if you don't pay it, the government's going to take your loans. Some of the programs were so overpriced where they didn't care. The students only cared about getting money back. And so they would go into programs. And this wasn't my program, but I've seen students take out $36,000 in loans for a 2-year program just to get refunds back. And so when it's time to pay, nobody ever really talks to them about, hey, you're going to have to pay $600 a month back for the next 50 years. And so think about it, they default. And so what tends to happen when they default on those loans, the government steps in, they take their IRS refund checks, the credit messed up. So, and then you're looking at a whole community with bad credit. You're looking at a whole community can't work in certain industries because of bad credit. You're looking at a whole community can't buy homes. So I was a part of that. I was walking around with millions and millions of dollars in my account, but look at all the people that was around me I was hurting. So when it was time for me to renew, I didn't. I chose not to participate in a Title IV program.
And so now you have these kids in here who many have taken student loans in other places, but now they have an opportunity to get a career, and you're actually helping them with the funding. Talk about the process of helping these kids get this training.
Well, one of the things that I do is I make sure I have a school in an area where I could provide jobs and high demand training. So it just depends. And in high demand trainings, there's always resources, especially through the federal government. So if I'm providing the training and the certification, the government will pay if a student is eligible. And most of the students I work with in my community are eligible because they make under $35,000 a year. They probably get AFDC, welfare, food stamps, whatever they call it today. And so 90% of the clients that come to me, they trying to change their life and they're eligible. And so what I do is I introduce them to these programs, and they don't even know that they exist. And so they are blown away. Like, they'll pay for my uniform? Yes. They'll pay for my books? Yes. Tuition? Yes. So when my students leave, they don't have any debt. They don't have to pay any debt. But you got to be careful with that too, because sometimes when you just give everybody something, they don't appreciate it. So what I have done is I have really showed them the value of getting this program and not getting into debt. And so it's a form of the mentality. Like, I have to get them to understand that nothing is free. And if you get through this program and if they are funding you, look how blessed you are. Look, you know how many people that wish that they could go through a program and go to school for free? That's like going to a 4-year college on a scholarship. And so that's one of the things that I do with the funding. Like, I will find it. I will be up all night, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, looking for money. I harass senators and congressmen, mayors. You know, I'm in the political light when I have to be, and I just have to find it. And most of the 90%, I would say 100% of my students don't even know it exists.
So I keep on saying kids, but I've met several students who are, in their 30s or maybe in their 40s, and they just, maybe they went through something, a divorce or lost a job, got laid off. Now they're just looking for a new start. So talk about the age range here at your school.
As long as they have a high school diploma or GED, I can enroll them. And the mindset to go to school and to work. If I could place them, that's my mentality. Sometimes I get students, and when we do an assessment, they're not ready. Like, if I get students that dropped out of school 3, 4 times, went to 3 vocational training schools, you're not ready. Get whatever you got going on, get it together. A young lady came in, she was pregnant. Why would I enroll her in a program and, she's not going to be able to finish? When you have your baby, come back. You see what I'm saying? And so everybody have all these barriers, and everybody's ready at some point. But sometimes I'm not a fit for them, and they're not a fit for me. And when they come in, I have to assess them to see how we could be a part of their goals. And sometimes I'm just not a part of their goals, But it doesn't matter as long as, and the only reason, I know a lot of schools can take clients without a high school diploma, but I choose not to, because when it's time for them to go to work, they have to have it. And they have to have a license, especially if they're doing HVAC or fiber optics, because they're going to be driving company vans and they have to get insurance. So all of those barriers that, and I don't put down any other schools, but most people will take them. But if I know that I can't get them placed, I'm not going to enroll them in a program and waste their time.
Yeah, but talk about it's not just school age kids. It's not just 18, 20, 25. I met a couple of ladies who were in their 30s and 40s.
Oh, yeah.
And I would be intimidated to go to school with 20-somethings if I was 40-something. So how are you getting those students prepared to get ready for this new career?
On referrals. Like, basically, when they come in, most of the time, they'll be bringing their kid or their daughter. And then I'll start talking to the parent. And then they'll see other students their age. Oh, wow. Such and such, says she's 56 years old. I know Mary. And so they see it's not just for kids. And I'll start talking to the parent, like, what are you doing? And sometimes I'll meet parents that's been working in an environment, they just make a little bit over minimum wage. And I'll encourage them. So it's like when they see the placement, they come. When they see our students making above the living standard, they'll come. Because, you want your kid 19 years old and that your kid making more money than you, So, yeah, you're going to enroll in the program. You want opportunities too. And I really don't see a lot of intimidation. It's like most of the time when I see the older adults, they have a goal and they have a mission. Like, you know what, I got a grandbaby coming. And I even have a GD program where we do the certifications. And I have a lady that come up here. She have the hardest time passing the GD. Sometimes I'll help her study. And she said she just want her kids to see her make it. That's what she told me. She said, I don't need it for anything. I just want them to see me do it. That's emotional for me.
And so the students that you serve, people call them at risk, but you have a different name for them. Tell me the name you have for them and what that means.
I call them underestimated. Because my community is underestimated. When I was growing up, I was told that I was going to be a welfare mom with 5 kids, with 5 different babies. I was never going to amount to anything, and it wasn't from my family and friends. It was other cultures looked at me as if I was never going to make it, but they underestimated me. Even when I graduated from Northwestern State University and went back, you should have seen the look on their face. Even today, when I tell my story, my peers, they can't believe that I'm where I am today because of the life that I live, because they underestimated me. And that's how I look at my community. I have so many success stories. I have students that graduated in 2000 from jobs that we found them in the year 2000. They come back and hire our students, started their own companies. Oh, Ms. B, I need 12 people. I started a business a couple of years ago, and they remember us. So yeah, that's why I call them underestimated, because our communities are underestimated.
So, working this close with the community, how do you manage attachment? Because it seems like these are your own children. Your children are grown, and you have grandchildren. It seems like these people become your nieces, nephews, and children.
Yeah, and that's the blessing of what I do. I'm gonna give you an example of what happened today. I had a lady call me, a counselor. One of my students didn't like her job, and so she wanted to quit. She was on externship, and she just didn't like the way they were treating her and talking to her, and they were going back and forth. And so the counselor finally said, "Did you talk to Ms. Boutte?" She said, "No." And so she said the last thing that she wanted to do was to let me know that she was quitting. So as I was talking to the counselor, I was like, give me that girl number. I know she changed it. So she said, "Well, Ms. B, don't tell her I told you to call." So I just called her, and I said, "I need to see you Friday." And I just left it at that. And so, yes, they are my family, and they, they're my family. They're special to me. Yeah.
So again, you had just retired. So what made you come back?
It was a need. I retired because I became a grandmother, and I just wanted to be at home with my grandchildren and play. And, I was financially secure. I wasn't struggling for anything. And as I was watching all the schools close because of the way they took advantage of our communities, I just didn't really have a choice. That's a word I use. I just don't have a choice anymore. It's like you have to be a part of the solution. And I've gotten to that point. Like, I can't complain. I can't say, "Oh, I can't believe this is happening." I just have to do the best I can to make a difference. And that's what I do every day. And that's what Ms. Joan and I were talking about. When them students come in here, I'm so serious about everything. They see me work. I don't want to hear you can't come to school because you got a headache. I come to work every day and I have a headache. Whenever you need something, I make sure that we provide it, and I do the things that I'm supposed to do. I work. So if I could do it, I don't want to hear excuses from you. And and that's the other thing. I lead. I don't expect them to do something that I wouldn't do. If I ask them to pick up the paper on the floor, they see me pick it up. So why wouldn't they pick it up? So, yeah.
So how does a young student or a person who wants a new career get involved in these programs that you have here?
All they got to do is call me. And I just, my team will visit and see how we could help them. Some people we just can't help, but here's the thing. If we can't help them, I make sure we do the research to find places to send them to help them. Everybody's going to leave with something that we could do to help better their lives, even if I have to refer them to a job. Sometimes I'll say, "You know what, you don't need to go to school. You got enough experience on your resume and your background. Let me call Mr. Knowles. He needs somebody to do what you're doing. Let me make some calls. And if he can't hire you, he probably knows some people." I've done that many, many times. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Stephanie Boutte.
Thank you.